Dr. Diaz. I'm the next lot, and I'm the nicest one that you're going to have in this ad hoc committee today. Just to start off with, did you read the ad hoc terms of reference? Have you gone through the ad hoc committee, this committee that you're in now? Have you gone through our terms of reference?
Sorry, I did look at them very briefly when they came through, and as I've been explaining to people, it was not helped by the fact that I've had computer problems for the last week, and my home network has disappeared, so I'm having to work between a USB and a tethered data thing. So, but I did see them, and they came through just at the time I was grappling with that, and I read them quickly.
Okay. So I just wanted to, and this is just by the way, Dr. Mary, is that we do have our terms of reference does allow us to appoint a forensic investigator. Okay. So it is something that we can do if the need arises. So just tell us, where were you born?
I was born in England.
You were born in England, and you grew up in England as well, or?
No, I grew up here, actually.
Oh, you grew up here. Okay. Just some clarifications on your qualifications. You said you've got a Master of Social Science degree.
I've got a research master for my research, a cum laude one. I have a social work qualification. I have an honours and masters, and then I've got this doctorate from Rhodes, an honorary doctorate in for my work in human rights. Yeah,
okay, I got you. And then you often...
And a lot of publications.
Okay. And is that how you got the title of professor through your publications?
People call me that, and I would say I'm not a professor. I should have been, because I was just too busy teaching and doing this to finish a degree. But I mean, it's quite not difficult to finish a PhD, and I've published most of it. So I mean, people call me that, and they use this term professor often in America if you're an academic at university. But I didn't get the official professorship because I hadn't finished the PhD that would have got me the professorship when I was teaching. Yeah.
Okay. You also indicated that you often assist SAPS officers who have either been illegally arrested or persecuted, as you indicated. Where do you get the funding from?
Okay. No, I haven't had it for years. We had it for 10 years. Professor Zulu and I had it. It was a joint project. It was Natal Monitor, became KZN Monitor, a research project. And we got the funding from Norwegian People's Aid for 10 years, between 1995 and 2005, all very proper, audited in our research codes. And it was given initially for research on the continuing violence, and then Shobi Shabane happened. And the funders agreed to give us money for legal work, and that's how we funded legal representation for victims, families of victims at Shobi Shabane. So haven't had funding. I mean, if I publish stuff in academic journals, which don't get nearly enough time to do as much as I want of, I get funding in my research account that I can use for academic purposes only.
So it was the Norwegian government. Did they approach you, or did you approach them, or did you apply for funding?
Well, somebody who'd been in exile approached us, actually, and they had representatives here at the time, and when they were running around with me some of the time to see what was happening, and then they offered us small funding. But as I said, the funding, they then offered us more after Shobi Shabane, and that allowed us to help people with legal problems if they didn't have legal help. But it stopped in 2005.
Okay, and who was the person that assisted you in facilitating the funding? You said there was someone?
What was his name? Yeah, there was it was networked. The person, Paul Zulu knew someone who'd been in exile, who was very close to ANC leadership. She's deceased now. She was Doris Kosana. and she'd been fairly well up in it. And we dealt with, she knew the Norwegian People's Aid people. That's how it happened. And they got interested in what was happening during the years of the violence. And I took them around, actually. They had the shock of their lives one day when we got chased out of a shack area that was later on going to be the site of another massacre. We didn't know what all the soldiers would do anyway, and they sort of got the message that maybe there's something going on here. Yeah.
Okay. So you've also indicated to us that you're an expert on policing and policy and the Constitution, particularly around policing. When you send information that you receive, how do you sift through that information to determine that this is the appropriate person or institution or agency to send whatever information that you get to? And do you think that you use the right information forms? For example, when you lodge a complaint to the public protector, they have a process on how and forms that need to be filled out. So just sending an email sometimes does not necessarily amount to it being a formal complaint because there's processes in place.
In the first years of democracy, I would go to the police and they would respond. And that just fell away gradually in the 2000s, and I'm lucky if I get any responses at all. I mean, there's some police that I've at stations that have been helpful. I will sometimes phone about patrols. Generally speaking, written answers are few and far between. You know, they used to be much more. I mean, recently I just passed on the complaint. I wasn't able to evaluate. And it did get investigated, actually. And I was worried because it involved a supposed unregistered prison. So I do it in different ways. We had no success whatsoever with either the Human Rights Commission or the Public Protector in KZN. But we got the investigation into Gleeblands hostel by just before, I think it was the last report that Advocate Madonsela wrote, because a lawyer with whom I work, who used to be the head of the law department, knew her well. And having the local office having turned us down, she did the investigation. So we've used different channels. And I've often sent stuff on to Parliament. I mean, at one stage, when I did complain to Parliament about torture and the fact IPID was doing nothing about it, it was, well, Advocate Birkman was the chair. And they followed up. They got an undertaking from the national office. They'd investigate. It was about our province. The guy came down here. He needed to see me urgently. I went out my way, and he said, look, I quite agree. Everything I've followed up looks right. And he got called back the very next day to head office because McBride had just arrived back, and I think he wanted a meeting, and that was the end of it. So we have had follow-ups in the course of the years to ask answers from, say, in that APID. So different. Yeah.
So why do you think the institutions or agencies that or SAPs in particular, where you normally had a relationship with and they would respond, why do you think they stopped responding to you?
Oh, because everything changed in 2009. I mean, clearly became the National Commissioner. And we had a return to military policing, which should never have happened. I mean, the ANC had taken a very firm decision in 1995 to demilitarize policing. And it was brought back immediately because clearly likes running around in a uniform. And I mean, it became shoot to kill. And not only that, but I mean, and I'm quoting media reports now, oh gosh, there's this man who was a bodyguard, now he's a brigadier, that we were getting all this, and I was getting reports from people about nepotism. So it started to go down, less and less responses. And I mean, we saw that with Gleeblands, for example. There was a crisis there, people were dying all the time. And I was writing to the provincial commissioner then, the woman that was suspended for the World Cup tender, which was signed off by Clearly. He signed it off. He should have been charged, not her. Okay. And she never ever, she once said, oh, let's have a meeting, and then she withdrew. Never replied to anything.
So you pretty much saying that it had more to do with who came into leadership. You don't think it had anything to do with the quality of the information that you were sending or asking about?
No, I don't think so, because I was doing what I've been doing since, I mean, in 1990, there was this big effort from people that we knew were not very nice security police, but oh, isn't all this nice, you know, that we're having this change, and I knew they were lying, because at one stage before 1994, I think it was the Freyvik blood actually, there was a real theory that the police were far to the right of de Klerk and didn't like what he'd done. And there was a real, at one stage, there was even talk about, well, if there's a coup, it's not going to come from the army, who are largely behind de Klerk, but from the police. So there were those tensions, and I think they went out of their way to show, but nothing much changed, actually.
Okay. So I'm curious about how you did not know that you had an option of lodging a complaint with IDEC, given your vast experience.
No, IDEC, you mean?
Yeah, IDEC.
Oh, right. Well, I guess I guess that it didn't, I hadn't thought of looking. I'll be honest with you that I'd tried over and over again to get action from IPID and got absolutely nowhere with anything, even with cases where we produced the medical evidence about the severity of the torture. I mean, yeah, so I was kind of, there was IPID, there was, I could have gone to the civilian secretariat, but I've never ever seen much. I've seen a lot of bad laws coming out of that have had to be sent back from the civilian secretariat. One of the things I put in parting was this, in suggestions forward to think about basically is that there's far too much power in the hands of one person, of the Minister of Police, who, regardless of who the Minister of Police is, because it's the Minister of Police who decides on the head of I mean, now there's a bit of window dressing about, well, let's call for nominations in the new legislation. The Minister of Police is the one who appoints the head of IPID ultimately. Appoints the civilian secretariat, which is supposed to give it, and they've got civilian secretariats in the different provinces. Because I once said to one of the Director Generals, well, what are they doing if you want us to? Oh, he said, nobody knows what they do. I thought, what an admission. Anyway, we've got the civilian secretariat, and of course we've got, it's IPID civilian secretariat, Minister of Police, of course. I mean, National Commission, no, well, that's the president. But there's got to be a recommendation somewhere. I think that there's a need, there's too much power over oversight bodies of the police with one pair of hands in the form of the minister. I think there should be more of a parliamentary role, quite honestly, in who becomes heading those particular institutions of IPID and the civilian secretariat.
Okay. So in terms of the IDEC, and you're not, so you weren't quite familiar with IDEC?
No, I mean, I thought that they had a more specialized agenda, quite honestly. I was thinking that they were into specific types of corruption. I mean, it gets quite confusing because we've got the SIU running around and we've got all sorts of people who are supposed to be doing it. But I mean, I'm glad of that suggestion.
Okay. Have you read the terms of reference for the PKTT?
The PKTT. Now, where are all I know is whatever was published about it. Yeah. And it was political killings in KZN. Yeah.
So you haven't, or you didn't, the IMC, have you read their terms of reference?
Sorry, the
IMC, which was the interim ministerial.
I've never seen a report by them. No, I mean, I don't know whether they ever report it to Parliament. I mean, that's something that I could.
Have you tried to access any of those documents?
Well, I looked to see what I looked at the time I wrote that conversation article. I looked to see whatever I could find about their operations. And all I could get, it was a decision and it was media reports, basically.
So when did you conclude that the PKTT was a rogue and unnecessary testing?
Well, it was starting to show that way a couple of years. They'd had 2 years when I read that Conversation article. They'd withdrawn charges in 3 high-profile cases. It was impossible. It was impossible to assess. And you see, someone asked me about how many convictions were there, and I mean, I've scoured media reports. I know that there are cases in court from people that tell me. I've scoured media reports, and there's not many high-profile cases. The high-profile cases get reported in the media, and they used to be even better reported 5 years ago. So you do pick up, and I know, with people, I know more about the killings in the areas. I've never, ever heard about anyone having been convicted. Some of the cases that have happened recently, a couple of them, they said, you see, we're getting these convictions. They've been there for years. They've just dragged on. And I think in at least one of those cases, the work had been done by the provincial team. It was going back that far. In another case, it seemed that, and this may be a problem in other cases, that the man who pulled the trigger had been convicted, but he was telling everybody who would listen to him, apparently, but hang on, I told them who sent me, and they weren't interested in investigating. But again, this is what I want. These were the things that I was hoping that some investigation into them would look at. I mean, I'm talking about, forensic investigators looking at records and things like that.
So about 2 years ago, you'd say that you held the opinion that the PKTT was a rogue.
Yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 years, what was it now? 4 years ago, over that. There was very little to show for it at that stage. Yeah.
And largely your assessment on that and your conclusion on that, is it safe to say that it was based primarily on media reports and then the few people that you have engaged with?
No, it was more than that. I knew some of those cases. I knew the investigators.
So let's say at the moment there's 121 dockets.
Yeah.
So out of that, 1%, 2% on the cases, because you also don't know how many actual cases they have investigated over the years.
I can't make any assessment without a knowledge of what dockets they took. I mean, they took one docket I'm aware of. It's fairly high profile, but it's got nothing to do with politics, as far as I know, and they made a copy of it. Okay. And they've taken other dockets that, as I said, are fraud or corruption. But, I mean, the early cases, I was able to make assessments in some of those cases because I knew the context. I knew what was happening in the area. I would hear from people if there had been arrests. So, but, I mean, basically, there was no evidence. There was nothing much to go on.
Okay.
In terms of information to assess. And that was even up till the last one, which is in 2022, I think.
Okay. So without giving us the details of the cases, more or less how many of the PKTT cases did you have personal knowledge, or you engaged some of the victims personally?
Look, I can't tell you that now. I've only now pulled all those lists up because I didn't know about, the fact that I would come here, put it that way, after the establishment. And and I dare not mention the name, that the commission that shall remain nameless was established, they reached out to me. They wanted information, and then when it was starting, I was told, look, we're never going to get to the task team part until at least the end of this year. I'd sent them the sort of stuff I've sent to you, and I then thought, right, I better go through all those lists, I better update them. Somebody wanted an updated one, I think, because I had the information, I just hadn't processed it. So that's what I was doing when you asked me to come here. And I mean, I put the lists aside. It's a very tedious business because the information is so scarce.
Okay, so we have reports since we had the press conference and the ad hoc committee has convened on reports on how many cases there have been, etc. So you haven't accessed any of that information?
They haven't given me a breakdown. The information I'm looking at,
yeah, we have that. So
is what the information I'm looking at is Minister Mkhulu's affidavit, where they are reporting to him, and they, and that's got case numbers. I'm able to make, in some cases, I'm able to link them because it's the area, it's the case is always opened at stations that they, where they happened. And because my lists have got the names of people and where they were killed, I'm able to make rough assessments of whether that's a particular case. But I don't have the breakdown of all the dockets they took. And
yeah, we have that.
So do you have that? Well, I mean, I can work on that, but I mean, that will, as I said, it'll take a while. I've got to
have a more informed, it would provide a more informed characterization of the PKTT. So let's talk a little bit about destabilizing. You know, it's not a foreign concept that, you know, countries can be destabilized. And the justice system can also be a deliberate, you know, program by forces that don't want to see South Africa advancing or making any developments. And one of the key methods of destabilizing a country, rather, is creating factions within departments and entities, spreading misinformation and disinformation, sort of what we see with AfriForum and what we see with the farm killings. So how do you approach when you get information before you go and you do media briefings and you write reports and you get that? How do you process your information outside of, you know, doing your one-on-one interviews with people to ensure that you're not part of a team, consciously or unconsciously, that's part of destabilizing our justice system?
No, I actually understand the dynamics quite well. I mean, there's all sorts of ways of approaching this. Let's put it academically. I could say to you, what's coming out points to the fact that that team was set up to cover up for politicians. That's my hypothesis. Let's say hypothesis. You have to prove me wrong. So, okay, I've got various theories in my mind. Now, KZN is volatile. We are the heart of probably the most powerful long-distance taxi. There's a lot of ones. I mean, what happens in KwaZulu-Natal is the hitmen linked to the taxis will commit a hit and the taxis will get them off to the hostels at Gauteng. And you tell me why we've still got hostels 30 years after democracy.
So, I'm going to
anyway, but that's the way it operates. And of course, we're Harbour City.
So I'm just asking, so do you feel that you are confident enough to know that you're not part?
Yes, I do indeed. I do indeed. I've been in this a long time.
And that your activism is not being weaponized.
Well, anything can be weaponized, especially in the social media age.
Because when you make your decisions on whether you're going to go public and share information, that you are conscious that I'm not being weaponized to destabilize.
No,
we have an entire minister who made a decision, and largely his decision, even his statement on a report that you gave to him. And whether it was intentional or not, I'm just saying, so that had a ripple effect across the entire country. We actually have a commission now and an ad hoc committee based on a report or a complaint that you have submitted. So I'm asking that at no point have you been approached to be part of a grouping or anything, to be part of something to push a particular agenda.
I want to clarify that I work completely independently. I mean, I still collaborate with Prof. Zulu, but he's teaching postgrad students and writing. We share information, but we don't work formally together. He's not doing violent stuff anymore, but we are very close friends. I am certainly not part of. There have been attempts to say I'm working for some foreign. I've heard all sorts of weird things. I'm a very independent person.
You can
I make my own decisions.
No, I understand that. That's why I said it could be unconsciously. And
you are on my discretionary 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, because I'm pretty much done. And this is
at 7:15. Your time will expire.
Okay, actually was concluding now. I just think, Chair, as an ad hoc committee, because these PKTT reports is going to keep cropping up, we're also going to keep getting witnesses to say that this is not accurate, etc. And as a committee, I think we should make a decision or consider rather that we ask the Auditor General to audit the PKTT reports over the years. And I think it's going to be because so far we've got reports from the police themselves, and then we have witnesses come and say the information is incorrect, etc. And the most positive thing we can do is have an independent body who is mandated to do that. The AG auditors, SAPs, and the crime stats as well. So we can ask also for them to do an audit on this. And I think that will help us as we move forward to deal with information.
I would welcome that. That's what the sort of thing I was looking for, basically.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm done. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Matthews. So thank you so much, Dr. De Haas. May we please move to Honorable Sols, but before we do that, let me take Honorable Nomvalo.
No, thanks, Chair. Doc, when you were responding to Honorable Matthews about the investigative methodology that you espoused to test the credibility of information that you receive. Well, I didn't hear precisely your response, but what I captured in your response is that you said before the arrival or before the change of leadership, it was easy for you to test information, but it became difficult, and I think you were specific that it became worse after the arrival of General Pegicele. May you give some brief clarity on that?
Yeah, what I was saying is that I was getting less and less feedback from the police. You know, I've been writing, and I believe in putting things on record. And if I write and I say, well, can you give me a progress report on this case you're investigating, for example, people are asking me to follow it up for you. That type of thing was decreasing. I was getting very few written responses. I mean, I'd carried on phoning police stations to get patrols and trying to get answers about cases. But what was happening after clearly there were two things. First of all, well, there were more, because he remilitarized the police, and you got this military ethos in the police. And pardon me, but I tend to, okay, no, I will leave that about the military, but never mind. That was one thing, but it was just getting less accountable from my point of view in getting responses and about what was happening. Look, it did go on. I mean, for example, the Honourable Chair of the Police Portfolio mentioned the Boyson, the organised crime. Now, this is what I did when people came to me and said, you know, these people are seen running around with the rival taxi faction. So I write and I ask about it. I don't get much response, but I did get a bit of a response. Not from, it was Olivier. I mean, I have something about a background of Olivier I won't go into here, but he was acting in charge. I think Boyson was the overall command. That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah. The point is, though, that the point is that he was in charge of the organized crime, and I did.
Doc.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean to be rude, man. I think I get the gist of your response. I have limited time. I still want.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Yes, I still want to pursue this. Now, should I understand you to say that the investigative methodology that you used to apply, you are not applying currently because of the circumstances?
Depends what you mean by it. I mean, I'm getting as much information as I can for anyone who knows anything, but I'm not getting it from the police most of the time. So what can I do?
Remember, Doc, the original question by Honorable Mateus was, how do you test the credibility of information after receiving it? That was the original question. And your reaction was that it was easy for you before the change happened in leadership. It became worse after General Pegitele came in. Now, the question is, does that mean you are no longer using the investigative methodology that you used to use under the then leadership before the arrival of General Pegitele? And if you can be very specific and brief so that the chair doesn't whip me.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. No, I haven't changed. I'm still trying to get information from the police, and I often don't get it. That's what's changed. That's all that's changed. I do my best to get, I mean, right now, police are refusing to open a case that a man wants opened against, he's under threat. It's illegal. What do I do? So I go to General...
Apologies, Doc. Really, I don't think you understand my question.
It's the same.
You are talking about getting an information. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about testing the credibility of the information that you have received. Those are two separate things. Yeah. Getting an information and testing it after receiving it are two separate things. The question was, how do you test the credibility of information that you receive from informants after receiving it?
I do my best. I still use the same methodology. I do my best. What I was doing before, asking answers from the police that don't give it to me, that's what's changed.
So if you receive an information from the police, then you ask for answers from them, from the same police. Is that the methodology that we should understand you to be using?
Look, what I'm saying is a lot of the information I supplied in those case studies were not the ones that are in the factual letters, the letters I sent to Parliament and the Minister. That information came not from the police, it came the people, apart from a few investigators who might have been involved in the cases, right. But that's first-hand information from people who are caught up in these investigations, who are ordinary people in communities. But this applies to everybody, not just the PKTT.
Yeah, no, the chair
also trying to do it for any victims.
The chair has indicated that I've actually run out of time. Lastly, did you subject this information to the same process, the one that is contained in your statement? That is my last question.
Well, if the same process is trying to get information, no, I didn't go to the police because I was not, I mean, I didn't go to police management because I wasn't even getting replies from Mkhwanazi when I was sending him letters, let alone Masemola. So I didn't bother because these were the police under their command. So what did I do? But now I know I can try the independent directorate as well, perhaps.
Thank you so much. Honorable Souls, it's 20 minutes past 7 now. Please be done by 20 minutes to 8. In the event you are not done, the chair will exercise his discretionary 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening once again, Dr. Haas. On this side. Good evening.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, yes, I see now. Okay, yeah.
If you don't see me, just follow the teeth.
No, I was vaguely thinking of something else. Sorry, I was, but I mean, sorry. I knew you were there somewhere, and I couldn't remember. But now you mention it, I see you. Yes. Okay.
Dr. Haas, let me start off by being very frank with you.
Please.
The methodology, though your methodology comes with very good intentions, you must understand for the purposes of the committee, the methodology of stating things that you have obviously researched, heard from certain people, but if you haven't verified them and you put it to us, those are things that we cannot use for our investigation. So what I'm going to seek to do as I studied what you submitted to us, I'm only going to zoom into things that I think that you can authoritatively answer to based on experience and based on what you state here. Okay? So we're going to do it that way. So let's start off by dealing with your experience. You speak about in the 1980s, you joined PFP. What was so important about what the party stood for during apartheid? PFP.
Do you want me to answer that first?
Yes. What does it stand for?
Okay. I joined the party.
What does the party stand for?
It was providing the only opposition there was to the Nationalist Party, mainly through Helen Suzman, and we could then give her reports on abuses by the police that she would raise in Parliament. I'm not much interested in politics, but it was a strategic thing to do, especially as the regional director of the Progressive Federal Party. Actually was the director, he had come up and he'd reached out to townships and he was working there. So we were able to work together, and he was working with lawyers, and that's how this formed. Basically, it wasn't about the politics. It was about getting some sort of opposition to the Nationalist Party.
And you also exposed the wrongdoings of apartheid police at the time.
Absolutely. We took affidavits about the abuses, and Ainsley was very involved in working with the lawyers who were, there was a lot of illegal detentions then, for example. We needed lawyers, so he was doing that. So it was a kind of increasing combination of contributions, and the Black Sash were also doing some things too.
And then also you worked closely with the Goldstone Commission. Who set up the commission?
President de Klerk set up the commission, but I know you're going to say apartheid judge, but some of the judges were okay. There were some that were very good.
Dr. Haas, Solda, please do not assume what I'm...
Oh, somebody said it was an apartheid judge.
Just follow my line of questioning.
Okay.
Very good. All right. So de Klerk did so. You are not very positive about police behavior even during that time. Tell us a little bit about that.
With the time in the early days of the Goldstone Commission, do you mean?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think that's on record. The police were coming and saying, right, and I was kind of quite amiable towards them. They were welcome, and I just these were kind of white security police, put it that way, mainly. But the police, for example, the stability units that were in the townships had a very negative image in people's mind, because they went in and disarmed anything, even a few homemade meth before the killers came. And so there were negative stereotypes about the police. And of course, trust feed happened. And in the trust feed case, the police were shown to be working with the people that went in at the massacre. I mean, that was all. So when I say that, I'm saying that, they didn't necessarily change their behavior. Some tried to show that they had.
You also mentioned something about the complicity with warlords from the police at the time, and you also stood up against that.
Yeah, indeed I did, because this was later. This came out in trials. When this was after, the violence carried on for a few years after 94 in specific areas. And for example, if you take these cases that were Vilagazi was investigating up in the Mtubatuba area and Mandini area, we had affidavits from people about how the police were abusing them, and they were also getting abused by the police, by the warlords, under threat. But the very concrete evidence came out in a court case up at Mtubatuba, where the evidence was that, and there was a conviction, for the warlords, one had been taken out, I think. Some of them die when things are getting a bit hot. And the evidence was there, though, that the local police, that we had actually, the lawyer for John Wills, the lawyer for the ANC, had lodged a complaint about the local public order policing because they were also abusing people. And they apparently, according to the evidence at the trial, they'd gone in and shone the lights on the houses that had to be attacked. So this was the sort of reports we were getting then, and there were convictions in these cases I'm talking about.
So would I be correct then in saying that based on your history right from the 1980s, even during apartheid, fighting against wrongs by police, whether it be apartheid police post-apartheid, this drive that you have, it's not something that you just miraculously gained after 1994. You fought this very same thing that you're doing now since the 1980s, in apartheid and after apartheid.
Yes.
Your issue is wherever there is police corruption, wherever there is workings of police that is negatively affecting the poor, you stand up against it.
Yes, I do. I haven't stopped since. That's what's bugging me. I don't really want to do it, I can tell you, but I haven't stopped because people keep asking me.
And this is what you have tabled to us. So I'm taking this from your statements here. So you have experience in that. Which other commission were you part of? That there was one more. Was it Morana or?
Well, it was the Morani. It was my information about hit squad killings up in the North Coast in what is now isikaleni. I was often up in isikaleni. But my information about the hitmen who were killing people all over the place was given to the Goldstone Commission, who ensured that a credible team of detectives investigated, and there was a conviction. That was Romeo Mbambo and two others that also named, and that was my information that I passed on, that was followed up by the police, and there were convictions.
All right. So you can then, based on that background, your opinion can be considered authoritative and credible around my next question. You've just proven that. My next question would be, in the formulation of a political task team or a task team, is it important or imperative for it to be headed by a senior detective, and why?
It's always been the case because detectives have to inspect dockets and evaluate the evidence that the people under them have actually accumulated. And if you're not a detective, you can't do that. And for the further control, is exercised by the prosecutors, who then look at the dockets and say, well, this is good, or you need to go back and get more evidence. I mean, ever since I've worked with the police, this is the way it's been, put it that way. I mean, it makes sense. How can you, if you're not a detective, if you're not experienced detective, you only get to be senior in most cases, although there's a bit of a not quite so simple now, but normally you get to be more senior when you've got experience, and you're in a position to do that because somebody has got to keep checking on the quality of the evidence, even before it goes for the prosecutor.
You raised that element as a concern with the current PKTT. What is your concern around that?
There's no senior people that are, I mean, there was supposed to be. As I said to you, the national deputy for detectives was in overall charge. He had to have the reports, but there was a brigadier who was the local provincial person, and that brigadier very soon left. And people say, well, no. And they all say the same thing. No, he couldn't take it anymore because he was getting instructions and he was in charge of investigations. He was the one that did the dockets then, I was told. So, and then it seemed, I have not come across another name that's there all the time. If I would say to someone, well, who's doing the dockets now? Well, there was a captain who came in and there's a colonel. I mean, that's, why? Why isn't there a fixed structure?
So who is running the PKTT now? And what is your information on whether or not he qualifies as a senior detective?
Well, I'm told, and this I don't know at this stage, I'm told that some of the people that were in the task team have gone back to their bases that they came from. One might have been a stock theft sergeant somewhere, or, it could have been, not all the people in the task team were detectives. But I'm not sure those that were carrying dockets that are in court, I'm not sure who is now overseeing them. I mean, in theory, it should be a senior person in the province.
All right. So
I don't know, though. I can't answer that because I do know that in the case of the police, there isn't one. There's just the prosecutor.
So what we're going to do is, like I told you at the beginning, because you don't know, we're not going to accept that as authoritative. You said earlier that the current coordinator of the PKTT, General Kumalo, is not a senior detective.
He's not a detective. He's never been, from what everybody tells me. He's been operational response.
Now, once again, are you saying that based on you are sure, or are you saying that based on what you've heard?
What I've heard is consistent across various reports independently, that he was definitely operational response for most of the time. There's no record anyone has of his having been a detective. And I'm talking now not just people in crime intelligence, but people who were in the police for a long time, who know, like a senior retired person, who had never come across him as a detective.
So your submission is confidently that currently the PKTT is not coordinated by a senior detective?
As far as I know, because I don't know whether or not those members, you see, that's the other foggy thing in all this, because some of those cases are still in court. And the investigating officers were allowed to keep those dockets that are still in court. Now, when they've gone to court, the investigation is over because it's in the hands of the prosecutor. So I don't know whether, once the investigation gets to a prosecution.
So what we'll do is, we will take your response to be you don't know, but we will keep for the record that we must ask and interrogate the question whether or not the current PKTT coordinator is a senior detective or has detective experience, okay? So we'll take it like that. Let's jump into your volume 1, Annexure Bundle volume 1. I want us to go to the letter, page 23 to 26, MDH 5.1. There's a section in section 4. This is a letter you wrote to General Mkhwanazi. So I want us to spend my remaining time on this. So you must be very concise here, Doctor.
This was in 2021. Is that the letter you're referring to?
That's correct.
I think it's the only one that's in here.
Yes. So let's go to paragraph 4. The reason why I'm zooming into that is because, once again, I'm going to test the authority of your evidence, or what you are supplying as backup of your position, because you use the words you can confirm. So if you can confirm, then that means it is something that we can use. So I ignored everything else where I see that you can't really say for sure. So we're just going to zoom into where you specifically state to us you can confirm. So let's go to paragraph 4, number 4.
Sorry, could you just tell me exactly which bundle it's in here? I'm getting myself muddled, as I always do. Which page is it in the? Is it in the?
It's MD, item MDH5,
okay.
1, volume 1 of Annexure Bundle.
Okay.
Annexure Bundle, volume 1. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I've got it now. The
number 4.
Commission SAPS, 11th of October. Yep.
You wrote this letter to General Mkhwanazi.
Yeah.
Did you get a response?
No.
Let's read 4. Would you please? I will stop you where I would want to question you. So let's read yesterday afternoon from there.
Okay, yes. General Khumalo, yes. Members of General Khumalo's team, seizure of the phones, and I think...
Point number 4, it starts with yesterday afternoon.
Yes.
Sunday, 10th October.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay.
It's your statement.
I received a report.
Yes.
Right. And he'd been arrested at Loop Street. I wasn't able to confirm, after speaking briefly to him, that members of the ministerial task team...
See what you're saying there. You said...
This was...
Yesterday afternoon, Sunday, 10th October, I received a report that Zulu had been arrested and detained at Loop Street. I was subsequently able to confirm, after speaking briefly with him, that members of the ministerial task team had arrested him. Now, you are saying that the PKTT has arrested him, and you are able to confirm that, right?
That's what he told me, and it was I think, from the people he described, and that was when I first heard about National Intervention Unit.
Are you able to confirm, are you sure or not? That
sure as one can be about it, because, I mean, Thabiso Zulu is very intelligent, and he's been doing his own research on these matters for many years.
You see, Doctor, you must not say as sure as one can be. You must say, I'm sure as one can be that this was the PKTT who has arrested this gentleman, because what you are claiming is that the PKTT, it was basically overreach. So if you are sure, you must say you are sure. I'm just using it because you use the words you can confirm, okay?
Yeah, I spoke to Khumalo, I think, yeah.
All right. Let's continue. The name of a certain Ramadi was mentioned. conversation, the arresting officers had seized 2 cell phones in the possession and told him that they were going to download the content of the telephones. These telephones should have been stored securely at Loop Street Station, but a duty officer confirmed that the arresting officers had made an entry that they had removed the phones, but no contact details were available for me to follow up. I did speak to General Khumalo about this, and I also sent him messages complaining about it. How did you speak to General Khumalo about this?
On the telephone.
So you have telephonic records that you have spoken to him about this?
Yes, yes. I mean, I don't know if I've got the records anymore. It's 4 years ago, but I did speak to him.
Okay. That you can say for sure.
Yes, yes.
I requested that he send his email address so that he could follow up via email, but since you have not received anything back.
No, I never received anything. I think the phones were reported. There was a report, though, to the Inspector General of Intelligence by Tabiso himself.
Okay, so what you are telling us by this statement, because this is the only thing closest to what I can use as something with authority. With this, are you saying that the PKTT has arrested people, taken possession of phones on cases that was not falling within their ambit? Is that what you're saying to us?
In this case, it wasn't, because they'd arrested him. I can't remember what they arrested him for, because he had opened a case of assault, and they claimed they were coming to investigate it. Then they arrested him on another charge, and that's in further correspondence I don't have with me, but it wasn't political that they were dealing with.
All right. Dr. Haas, you also said that earlier you wanted to shed light on the fact that at one political killing, provincial police did a good job with this particular political killing, and then when the PKTT started, they took over and then withdrew the charges of that.
Not immediately.
Talk about that to us.
Okay. What happened is, and if you look, I think I made a copy of quite an interesting media report where clearly is going into figures and things like that. And what had what had happened, he gives the figures for the people that have been taken that were handing dockets. He said so many members and so many had been transferred from their units because we took the dockets, right? So that's how that happened. And then initially, in the first, and I haven't yet pieced together the whole timeline, because initially there was supervision of the task team. There was a brigadier in Ngwenya who was there, and he looked at the dockets. This would have been, I think he was still there. I think it would have probably been around 2020. Maybe he was, but I'm not sure. He wasn't there for more than a year or two. And one would need to say, well, but it wasn't the immediate takeover, but it was soon after the takeover that those charges, by 2020, the charges had been withdrawn in those 3 cases that had been handled by provincial people against the politicians. Because in the Magaka case, they did not immediately, they didn't withdraw the charges against any of the hitmen. They didn't give them bail either, but then a new prosecutor came in and he gave them bail, apart from the one that was Ngwengwe, because I think he had another conviction.
But you are saying that the PKTT withdrew those cases?
Yeah, they did, because they were in charge then.
Thank you, Chair.
Are you done, Honorable Sals?
Yes, sir.
We don't want even a minute, a discretionary minute from the chair.
If I would take a minute,
Okay.
then it is something that I would want to say to Dr. Haas.
You are allowed.
Frankly. Dr. Haas, there is a scripture that says, knowledge puffs up. Knowledge puffs up. And oftentimes, I want to share with you honestly, I've never understood that scripture until today. Your vast knowledge and experience, in your wisdom, strike a balance when how you come across to people based on that. I can suspect when I look at the way you speak in your writing, even if you use the words please and I request, but you said to General Mkwanazi, please also either ascertain from General Komalo or request the email or request he emails me directly whether the police who arrested Tabiso Zulu had obtained a warrant. It's like you are speaking to a provincial police commissioner who has people under his command. And when you, from outside, almost speaks as if you are commanding him rather than you are seeking to join hands with him, you come across as puffed up. And mine to you would be very humbly, respectfully, caution against what Scripture tells us. Don't allow your knowledge to puff up. Thank you.
Well, I didn't know I was rude to General Mkwanazi. Sorry.
You must start by saying hallelujah before you respond.
Oh, sorry.
Hallelujah.
Okay, right. Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate, even if you're, I've dealt with this sort of criticism for 40. Look, it's like déjà vu for me. People were saying this about me in the 80s. So, okay, right. But I do try to be polite when I communicate with the police. But look, they are civil servants. They should be accountable to the public. It's as simple as that. You shouldn't have to beg them to be accountable. That's what they should be doing, and most of them aren't. So, and I also learned years ago, and this sounds bad, no, I don't. I try to be polite when I communicate with them, but sometimes I see that they're just basically bullies. And the only way you deal with bullies is to bully them back. And then they get the message. So, but it depends. I'm not saying I do this universally with police, but you actually have to stand up to them and say, but these are people's rights. Can you just, inform them or help them or whatever they need to do?
But maybe you should consider that's perhaps the reason why you didn't get a response.
Okay.
I'm joking about it, actually.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sols. Follow up, Honorable Matthews.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Diaz, in your opinion, was it a sound decision for the Minister of Police to largely disband the political killings task team based on the complaint that you sent and with your evidence that you've just given us that was largely based on media reports because you didn't have access to verifying information? And then, of course, you did mention that you had direct contact. You can't tell us exactly with how many of the people who were, or the cases or dockets that were part of it. Do you think it was sound decision for the minister to make that without even engaging you or even engaging the complaint that you sent? Because you and him both said you did not talk to each other. So we had a minister whose entire statement, okay, not entire, but largely his statement was based on your complaint.
Look,
so was it sound? I think you must just tell us whether you think it was sound, given what you sent to him, Doc. Was it a sound decision for a minister of police to use your complaint without investigating or engaging you to disband the political killings task team?
I wasn't the only one who made a complaint. When I skimmed
that's
through,
not the question.
I mean, so we can't say he based it solely on.
No, he did. That's what he told us. He gave us your whole complaint.
Oh, did he? Well, yes. I didn't. Yeah,
so,
but I mean,
so I'm
other
asking,
people
do you think it was? No, I'm not asking about that.
Yeah.
I'm saying he didn't even call you to ask you anything about that. No one in his office tried to investigate the complaint that you made. Do you think it was sound?
I don't
it
know
wasn't
if anybody did.
It wasn't. No, but I'm telling you, that's what he said. So I'm asking for your opinion. Given your experience in the police, would you expect a minister of police to make a decision largely based on a complaint that you made without even engaging you or investigating what you've reported to him?
I referred to a brief discussion with Advocate Pacoli, who wanted to just verify what I was saying. For all I know, he went and did this. I have no idea, because I didn't speak to him about what happened and how, the minister got to that decision. So I don't know if anybody else did anything about it. But when I read that affidavit briefly of the ministers, it was like he'd been getting reports and wondering if it, including about finances and it could just be the last. It could be.
I'm telling you, but his statement said that, and he gave us your complaint.
Yeah.
And you were one of. So leave the other complaints aside. I'm asking, was it a sound decision based on your research and your experience in the space for the minister without investigating what you have said to base the disbandment of the PKTT?
Well, it's a difficult question to ask simply because I don't know what else he may have said. Well, my letter was a catalyst, but I can't say that he did that. I mean, I think it was a good decision to disband the team. I think it was overdue.
Yeah, that wasn't the question, but okay.
I mean, as a minister, I'm not really in a position to evaluate it because I've never, ever spoken to him about all the reasons. Maybe he should have called me and asked about it. I don't know. But I've never spoken to him about, well, what else led you to disband it? We've never had that conversation. So how can I make a proper assessment, I think? But I was happy to see the team was disbanded. I would have been quite happy with an inquiry into it even. Like we're having now. Yeah.
Honorable Matthijs, are you satisfied? You said it was a good decision to disband.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Honorable Nwala.
Thank you very much, Chair. Doc, it looks like your evidence is based largely on one aspect of the PKTT, which is SAPS.
Which is?
SAPS. Are you aware that the PKTT is a multidisciplinary team?
Yeah. Well, yes, but I haven't seen evidence of it. I've seen the intelligence aspect, and that's all I know.
You haven't seen evidence of what?
Oh, of course, the multidisciplinary, the justice is in it too. Yeah. But I've never seen public pronouncements. I've only seen a minister saying that we've got this team, and I know that they've spoken, I think in the Madlanga Commission, about how they're working with justice people, and that came in when one of them arrived. They weren't initially. There were no dedicated prosecutors.
Are you aware that the PKTT comprised SAPS, NPA, Crime Intelligence, State Security, Correctional Services?
Yes, they have different roles. Crime Intelligence.
Are you aware that it was comprised by a multidisciplinary team?
According to the announcement, I don't know how it worked in practice, apart from the fact that they did get a dedicated prosecutor when Graber moved here. And the point is, intelligence is part and parcel of all investigations. You don't have to be a multidisciplinary team to access information from crime intelligence. It's a separate component.
Okay.
So it's not new to access intelligence for it, but you should at least note your things to different prosecutors.
Lastly, Doc, you wrote a letter to the minister that he must instruct the National Commissioner to dissolve the PKTT. Two big issues. Is it a concession that the person who bears power to dissolve the task team was the National Commissioner, not the minister?
No. The National Commissioner did not set up a task team. It was set up at
in your letter,
level.
Did you not say in your letter the minister must instruct the National Commissioner to immediately dissolve the task team?
Yes.
Isn't that a confession or a concession that the person who's supposed to dissolve is the National Commissioner?
Yes.
If you're saying, so we are saying the National Commissioner was supposed to dissolve.
But he had
not
to have
the
ministerial approval.
Beg your pardon?
He had to have ministerial approval. It was set up.
It's fine. It's fine.
No, and look, the role of the minister.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, may you take a deep breath, all of you.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't breathe heavily on each other's neck. You can imagine a younger South African and a senior citizen in a comrades marathon trying to run the race at the same pace. It's not possible. There must be different categories of entries. No? Yeah. Let's continue. Honorable Ngola.
Thanks, Chair. I'm saying, is it your concession that the person who was supposed to dissolve the political killing task team is the National Commissioner, not the minister? Because you wrote a letter to the minister and said he must instruct the National Commissioner to dissolve.
This minister was not acting in the same operational manner as the former minister. And I know that because I've been told, for example, by another very good detective.
Doctor, let's go straight to the...
All right. Okay.
Do you concede that the police commissioner was the relevant person to dissolve the PKTT?
If he was instructed by the national minister to do it. The national minister works through the national commissioner.
So you are saying that the minister makes a policy pronouncement and the commissioner implements that policy?
Yes.
So your interpretation is that the decision is like a policy pronouncement?
Yes, it is. We don't need this anymore. I mean, he's entitled to do that, I think, especially if it's costing a fortune.
When you say we don't need this anymore, who else do you include in that way?
Well, no. It's sorry. That was just a throwaway comment. I'm just guessing on. He came to the conclusion because I see that he is looking at finances as well.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm taking the Chief Whip, Honorable Nomvano, and Honorable Skosan. We will come to you, Honorable James.
No, thanks, Chair. No, I wanted to do a follow-up on 2 issues, or maybe 3 issues. The first one, Dr. Diaz, it has to do with what Honorable Nwala was asking. You wrote a letter to the minister to instruct. Why didn't you just ask the minister to decide? Because why didn't you just ask the minister to dissolve? Why should the minister still go to somebody else? Because by implication, when you recognize, even as you are preparing for your letter, that the minister must confer to somebody else, you are recognizing automatically that that person might have the authority to take a decision otherwise.
The role of a minister, and I think people have lost sight of this because they're used to seeing ministers running around doing things themselves. This minister, even when he was the premier, he worked through his office. He wasn't running around like some of the others that we have. I don't know enough about him, but he was always fairly low-key administrative person. In my own knowledge of what I read about him in the paper, and my own very, as I said, hardly any interaction with him. But if you look, the ministers of this country should be setting the policy and should be instructing the head of department about, well, this is the new policy. Will you please implement it? And this maybe, so what I am saying is that as minister, that was his way of, that he's supposed to do it. Because when the team was set up, it was the minister who went to, General Sithole it was then, and said, we've decided to set this team up, and that it was agreed in principle that Sithole would do it. He, through the minister was giving instruction, and Sithole did it in the structure that he thought would be best to deal with the political team, but still reporting. So it's exactly the same thing in a sense. Clearly is saying, well, we're setting this team up. And I'm trying to now say to myself, because as I said, I just skimmed through Mkhulu's affidavit because I was more interested in what he could tell me about all the cases they spoke about. But he did seem to be taking into account things like what it was costing, and he probably may have heard that because, as I said, the Deputy National Commissioner tried to, according to a media report, the Deputy National Minister had brought it up with the National Commissioner. So I don't see it I see it as a perfectly rational decision by a minister who's got the power to do it in terms of the Constitution.
Okay,
just operate through the head of department.
Okay, just one last follow-up so that I don't take a lot of time for my colleagues. Now, flowing from what Honorable Matthias was saying, the one sitting next to me, about the sources that the minister relied on to take a decision. Now, let me say to you, because you, judging by your own experience, you are a very seasoned academic. You understand the value of research and the significance of decisions based on research. You don't comment on it now. I would suggest you deal with it together. Now that you have seen you saw the affidavit of the minister, you were quoted extensively there. Would you not conclude, or would it be unreasonable for a South African who has been following these developments, would it be unreasonable for them to come to the conclusion that part of the leading information at the disposal of the minister when he was taking a decision was the extensive submission made by you? And therefore, that submission made by you, as we have been dealing with it in the discussion here, is not necessarily a complete, in a sense that is a one-sided view without verification on the other side. How do you think South Africans will read and interpret that kind of a situation? Or what is your comment on that, with a benefit of hindsight?
Look, it would not be, I can tell you that you can do research and it gets ignored too. I mean, I thought that if I used my research to tell the apartheid government that it was ruining black family life, that might help, and it didn't. So I'm just saying research is one thing, policy is another. Okay. But, I mean, it would not be unreasonable, I suppose, if I'm quoted extensively, and I wasn't even aware of that because I really skimmed it. I was looking for specifics in it. And it would not be unreasonable, I suppose. But of course, it's also, there's different ways of interpreting this because it depends how critically minded you are, but it could be quite reasonable to say, right, why is he quoting her? You know, who else did he work with? I don't know if he sent his legal advisor off to find more information for all I know. I have no idea. I don't know what happened after I sent that letter. I really don't. I know that I think I did see a quote from those two lawyers in Cape Town who are, I'm sure, raring to give their impression, tell you what happened to them. But I honestly don't know why he would have quoted me so extensively. Look, I mean, I am well known since the 1990s as doing all this stuff on violence. I think I've got a reputation in the province because I'd done all this research, and in the early days, until things started falling apart when all the infighting, you know, with Richmond, the ANC set great store on the information I was giving them. They were coming to me, they wanted it. And as I said, right from the beginning, from Mbeki and Zuma downwards, they were soliciting this information all the time. So perhaps on and they were phoning me during elections and saying there's a problem at the station, at that station, Nadia Mtetwa, for example. You know, they were coming to me. So I don't know if that was what informed his decision that I was the one who would know what was happening. I honestly don't. I can't answer.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Honorable Nombal.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair, once again. My follow-up relates to a response that has been given by Dr. Meriti Haas to a question of Honorable Ngola, who was asking if she is aware of the fact that the PKTT was multidisciplinary by its design. And the response was that you were not sure if practically it was because you never received any report confirming such. Now, somewhere in your statement, and in particular on paragraph 10, page 5, you are saying that many cases were withdrawn by the PKTT. That is what you are saying. Now, you agree with me that when a docket is in possession, or when the docket is in the hands of the NPA, it's only prosecutors who can withdraw cases?
Yeah.
So when you say here on paragraph 10, page 5, cases were withdrawn by the PKTT, what do you mean?
We'd have to look back then at exactly when they were withdrawn.
No, I can help you. I can help you. Some were withdrawn in 2017. No, 2017. If my memory serves me well.
I think it was more likely.
Some 2018.
Than 2018.
Yes, 2018.
And it was a while after the formation it was withdrawn.
For instance, let me help you, Doc. Let me help you. Because we have also highlighted this case here, the Sindiso Makaka case, which was withdrawn in 2018, between 2018 and 2019. And it was withdrawn by prosecutors, not by the police, because it was in court already. It was enrolled in court. Now, what do you mean by this statement when you say the PKTT was withdrawing cases?
Well, why did it happen?
May you please speak through the mic? I can't hear you.
Sorry. Well, I would ask myself a question. Why did it happen then? Because were the cases, was there in effect, I mean, people had been charged. Now, why suddenly wasn't enough evidence to charge them? I don't know. I mean, we can dig that out quite easily for the Magaka case, I think. But I'm not sure who the prosecutor was at that stage, but initially, you see, again, this would be something, one would look at the prosecutor, but the initial prosecutor was actually quite a good prosecutor. So one would have more faith in his judgment than one would do in the one that came afterwards.
Chair, I'm afraid.
I mean, I can't,
the doctor is not answering my question, and my time is very limited.
Yeah, sorry, but I can't,
She is peripheral, Doc. What do you mean here on paragraph 10, page 5, when you say cases were withdrawn by the PKTT?
Well, they were withdrawn after the PKTT came.
So we must remove the statement.
Yeah.
Withdraw it.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, I'm asking, should we remove it?
Well, it was badly phrased. I did this in a huge hurry, I must tell you. I had to do a lot of work that I didn't have time for, and that's why I'm tired. Right.
Yeah,
I didn't have much time to do all this, and in places I agree the wording is not quite right. It was they were withdrawn after the PKTT took over, and not immediately after.
Doc, I think you are giving a topsy-turvy response. You are not responding directly to my question and precisely.
Well, yeah.
The question is, what do you mean by this statement when you say cases were withdrawn by the PKTT?
They did not, that was what was, the PKTT came in, the cases were withdrawn after they took the dockets.
By who?
Well, they would be withdrawn by the prosecutor, but the prosecutor was working on what evidence he had from the investigators. So for all I know, the investigators came in with evidence that contradicted the arrest. I don't know, but it happened after the PKTT.
You wrote something that you are not sure about. When you say you don't know.
Honorable,
it happened, but I don't know the processes that led to it.
The witness has conceded to that point.
So we must remove it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much.
Well, they were withdrawn after the task team took over investigations.
Yeah.
And that can be open. It can be their fault, it can be the prosecutors.
The point, Doctor, is that the PKTT, by law and practice, does not have the authority to do what you say they did.
No.
So you agree with what Honorable Novalo is saying?
No. I agree in the sense that I don't know how the decision was taken, but it was after the PKTT took over, because they were working with the prosecutors.
The bottom of it is that it is not the decision of the PKTT.
No,
and that is why you say you also do not know how the decision was arrived at. Thank you. Yeah. Honorable Skosan, you are the last, and then we go to Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make a follow-up question. I think Honorable Matthijs, when he started, she started by asking the academic credentials of Mary Haas. Am I right?
The academic? Sorry.
Your academic credentials.
Yes.
Yes. Now, you studied at the University of Natal, am I right?
Pardon?
You studied at the University of Natal.
University of Natal?
Yes.
Yes.
That's where you got your anthropology.
Yeah, those were anthropology degrees.
So you had your master's on social science, am I right?
Yes, research masters.
And then Rhodes University conferred you with LLD honoris cause, am I right?
Yeah, that was Rhodes afterwards.
Now, because you are given a frequent public commentary on specialized policing, intelligence, and criminal justice matters, it's very important for us here in Parliament that we must distinguish between your own academic qualifications and the honorary recognition you received then. Now, as from now, as you know, Rhodes University can call you, inverted commas, a doctor. But in Parliament, it must be very clear that you must be referred as Mr. Haas here. Am I right?
You can do either. Some people do use that honorary term.
No, Doc.
But yeah.
I said we were calling you Doc before, but I want the public and Parliament to capture that in Parliament here, we are not a doctor, we are Miss Haas.
Whatever. I don't care what you call me.
No, it can't be whatever. I can't be called a professor as well.
No.
I just want us to capture that.
Let's not argue about titles, Jali. Just go straight to the point.
No. My point is that I'm making a follow-up question on that. Nothing else. Hence, I can't call the chairperson a professor. I know he's got an academic qualifications in law, but I can't call you a professor. So I want us to capture this, because remember, we were told initially that Mr. Haas is Professor Haas. Well, he cleared it us to today here. To say she's a doctor.
But what I'm trying to say to you, so that we don't waste time, and I'm going to patiently give you time to drive your point. But
my point is simple.
I want to say to you, get to our terms of reference, because we are not about the title that she uses.
No, Che, I'm saying for the record.
Yeah.
For the record, because you can't say to me, next time we are calling somebody a minister who's not a minister, and say, no, we should not worry about that.
So what you are saying is that the university that conferred her the honorary doctorate
and call her a doctor, yes, is fine.
Can address her as doctor.
Yes, it Rhodes, yes.
But as
in Parliament
outside the premises of the university, we are not bound to address an honorary, a recipient of honorary doctorate as doctor.
Especially here in Parliament. Outside, I don't mind. But I'm saying when we capture facts here, it must be reflected that Mr. Haas was here, not Dr. Haas was here, please.
So you are trying to say that the university just decorated her?
No, you don't understand me. Rhodes, they can call her a doctor. There's no problem with that. But in Parliament here, when we are capturing our records, it must be clearly that we had Mr. Haas appearing before us.
It's fine.
Thank you, Chair.
Let's give her a chance. So, Dr. Haas, I'm not even saying doctor in quotes, because you were sitting there, you said you're Dr. Haas. What is your understanding of that statement, that Honorable Scosa? If a university confers an honorary doctorate to you, when you get outside the university, is it appropriate for you to be addressed as Dr. Haas?
Well, some people are and some aren't. It seems to vary as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
As from what I've seen, I don't usually use it, and I'm so sick of saying to people I'm not a professor. I mean, I probably have to go and get all my publications and get a doctorate for them, because I've got enough publications there that I can take them and say, can I just convert it to another doctorate?
Yeah, no, it's
but I mean, it's just such a trivial thing. Yeah. It's meaningless. I don't know. It's just a digression from more important things.
Yeah.
No, Chair, please, Chair, protect me. No. I said because she doesn't possess doctorate.
That point, Jali, is driven. I just want to check.
She never had a research on doctorate.
Yes, please, I want to check with her what is the practice in the profession if there is any South African who knows who can help us.
Well, may I just explain what happened to my doctorate? I started it in the 1980s. I was diverted because I got an offer from the Human Sciences Researcher to get money to research. So I put it aside. I then wrote a chapter I wrote chapters on the theory of the time. And you have to, then I got caught up in all this violent stuff.
No, it's fine.
And it went on and on. I did 4 different theoretical
Let's stop it here. It's something we'll come to at the end of the proceedings.
Thank you, Chair.
Maybe we can be assisted on that one. It must not.
There's nothing silly,
It must
Chair,
not
please.
derail our meeting. Look, you have not completed your doctoral degree.
For good reasons, I may tell you, very good reasons.
That is acceptable. It's fairly reasonable. Honorable James, it's now 20 minutes past 20 hours. Your time will expire at 20 minutes before 9 with a discretionary 5 minutes from the chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. I don't think I'm going to need those 5 minutes today. All the questions has been asked, everything that I've written down, everyone has asked my questions. Dr. Mary, your complaint, your instruction to the minister, I need you to focus. Dr. Mary?
Yes, I'm listening. Sorry. I wasn't listening in my microphone.
Okay. Your instruction, your complaint to the minister has caused great havoc in our country. Do you realize this? We are now having to pay 4 ministers.
Well, how was I to anticipate that? I didn't think anybody would do anything about it. I just wanted to put on record what they were doing. How do I know? How can I preempt this? Am I getting blamed now for this mess? I mean, I wasn't responsible for Nkunati going out
public. Is that not your instruction? What do you mean, how can you be blamed for all of this? Your instruction, you instructed the minister instructed the National Commissioner. You should be rejoicing. You should be happy, because that's exactly what you wanted. Is that not so?
I didn't instruct him. I asked him.
You instructed him.
I can't instruct him.
You did not ask him. You instructed him. Paragraph 1 of your letter clearly instructs. You did not give him a view. You instructed him. You have no right to instruct a minister. And the minister, in turn, instructed the National Commissioner. Let's not get it wrong.
What is the wording of my letter there?
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, Doc. James, as the acting chair, can you calm down? Don't breathe onto each other's neck. You can proceed on, James. I'm the
No, ma'am. Doctor, you instructed. It is late. I want you to go meet your hookup. You instructed the minister to instruct the National Commissioner. It is in your letter.
To a request?
No, you did not request. We need to move on. 1.1 of your letter, instruct the National Commissioner, SAPS, to immediately disband the irregularly constituted, unnecessary and wasteful political killing stars team. Is this not your letter? Whose letter is this?
That's not quite right, because if you read the paragraph, may I just read the last sentence?
No, it's 1.1.
Can I just point out, I start the sentence by saying this letter, blah, blah.
1.1.
Request,
Dr. Mary, it's late. 1.1.
I set out to take urgent and appropriate action. I requested the minister. And
1.1.
I'm going to that now, if you will just bear with me. Okay. I refer to here under, wait a moment, the task team. In this regard, the action that I'd asked him to take, requested. In this regard, I request that you, number 1.
Do we have the same letter in front of us?
It's 1,1.
001132. An extra. Do we have this in front of us? 1.1.
But this is the letter.
I needed to read 1.1, nothing else.
1.1 flows from 1.
What does 1.1 say?
1.1, the end of 1.1.
Not the end, the beginning.
But it's part of the... But no, I'm sorry, we're maybe not talking the same language. This is... May I just read this? Okay, the last sentence. I ask, and its appendices, to request for reasons, blah, blah, blah. I set the reasons I set up below. Right. I carry on and I say, and the last 2 lines.
Tell her to read that.
Please just look at the last 2 lines of number 1.
Okay, Doc. Doc, can you pause a little bit?
In this regard,
Doc.
In regard to what I've just asked him,
Doc.
I request
my time.
that
Doc.
you...
Doc, can you pause there? Okay, can you please pause there?
Yeah, I request that you...
Doc, can you...
instruct the National Commission.
Doc, calm down. Please pause there. We are intervening because we see that you are not getting each other. Honorable James is referring to the letter you wrote to the minister on the 31st of October. Now, she's referring you to a paragraph in the letter, which is 1.1. Can you read it yourself out loud?
I can read it, but it's a 1.1 which follows directly from 1, the things I am requesting the minister to do. That is the meaning of...
You can read 1 and read 1.1. Doc, you can read 1 and read 1.1, both of them.
All right. Let me read the whole thing. This letter and its 3 appendices is to request that for reasons that I set out fully below, you take request that you take urgent and appropriate action to deal with the abuses and gross wastage of personal and financial resources by the irregularly constituted political killings task team. In this regard, I have in brackets, I refer to here under as the task team. Right. New sentence. In this regard, I request, I don't obstruct it, I request that you, 1.1, instruct the National Commissioner, SAPS, to immediately disband the irregularly constituted, unnecessary...
Okay, stop there. Thank you.
So
thank you.
That's
Thank
the
you.
sentence.
That's the sentence, yes.
Yeah.
You requested him to instruct.
Yeah, I'm requesting...
It's an instruction. You are saying that the minister must instruct the National Commissioner.
I'm asking him to. I'm not instructing him to. I'm asking him to instruct the National Commission.
Professor, when one reads your letter alongside the minister's directive, right, it becomes evident that your letter formed the foundation of the minister's decision.
Right.
It becomes evident that your letter formed the foundation of the minister's decision to disband the PKTT. You give 3 reasons in your letter, written the end of October. The minister writes end of December. You give 3 instructions. You give 3 instructions. Your first paragraph says immediately. The minister gives 3 instructions. In his letter, it also says immediately. Is that a coincidence?
Look,
you both give 3 instructions, both as immediately.
Say to the minister,
you need to allow me to finish so that you can go for your hookup this evening. You need to allow me to finish.
Sure.
You give 3 instructions.
Yeah.
The minister gave 3.
Let me help Honorable James. Yeah.
How do I know what the minister's going to do? I can ask. I'm asking. I don't instruct him, I'm asking him.
Look at me. Yeah. Look at me.
Yeah.
Honorable James is talking to...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm trying to reply.
We can proceed.
And clarify. That's what I'm trying to do. I can't answer your question about why the minister did it. I honestly can't, because I've never spoken to him about why he did it. And I'm getting the blame for it. I mean, it's just, I'd never have done it if I'd known. Quite frankly, I think it's... But it has precipitated some investigations. Look at it that way.
Let me get back to my question. When one reads your letter alongside the minister's directive, it becomes evident that your letter formed the foundation of the minister's decision. Am I right? You both had 3 instructions. You both said immediately in there, it was 8 weeks apart. You should be rejoicing that your activism has finally paid off. Because this is what you wanted. You said it was wasteful. You said it didn't add value. Yeah. You said it was unnecessary. You said dockets were going missing. So yes.
Look, as I said, I never anticipated this. I never thought a minister would act. I'm trying to guess why he did act, and I'm sure he wouldn't have only acted on what I said. I mean, it may have been the last straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. Well, we've been thinking about it, and yeah, if she's saying it, maybe I have to take it. I'm guessing.
This is not a place, Doctor, this is not a place where you come and guess. Let me move on. General Kwanazi testified that there may have been a third force behind your letter. That there may have been a third force. How do you respond to that allegation?
Well, you must define what he means by a third force, to start with.
Do you think it's the fact that there are so many similarities between your letter and the minister's?
Well, that's not a third force. What it's doing is suggesting I'm being motivated by something sinister. I mean, it's like saying we use the third force for all the covert apartheid agents. Are you trying to link me to that now? Is Mkhwanazi? Well, he might do, because he was trained by quite a notorious public order policing. In fact, so notorious that he got taken out when he attempted a coup in Botswana.
I mean, maybe to come back now.
On the
Doc,
brain.
You need to come back. You need to come back now.
No,
I mean, that's insulting.
No, Doctor. Wait. May we just simply respond to the question that Honorable James is asking? Botswana is not one of our provinces or our districts. And as Parliament, we wish to pursue cooperation and harmonious relation with Botswana as one of the countries or our neighbors in SADC. So, yeah.
Thank you. I want to take you to paragraph 4 of the same letter that you wrote, right? Where you assert that General Khumalo was holding 2 positions, and that was a conflict of interest. Am I correct?
This is in my statement, right?
You actually also mentioned it earlier on, that he was holding 2 positions, it was conflict of interest, and it just wasn't right. It's never been done, it's never been heard of. That's what you said in your letter.
I mean, I have complained about his holding 2 positions, because at that stage, when I wrote this letter initially, he was believed to have been running the task team, but although he wasn't running it physically, he was in operational response. He was managing it. He was managing it in terms of a project manager, but he was also then holding the position of head of crime intelligence. And that isn't, I've tried to explain why it's a conflict of interest, because both of them involve financial disbursements. And it has to be very clear to people that they're separated and there's no overlap between one lot of disbursements going to another.
Dr. Mary, what would you say if I put it to you that that assertion was factually incorrect? He was not holding 2 positions. He had his position and he was deployed to head up the political killings task team. He was not holding 2 positions. You were misleading this House and you were misleading the public, saying that General Khumalo was holding 2 positions. He was not holding 2 positions.
I was told that he was in operational response.
There was a special task team set up to deal with the political killings, and he was deployed there as a result of his skill set. He was to go and assist.
He was deployed as a project manager, which
That
is
doesn't mean he's holding two positions, ma'am. That does not mean he's holding two positions.
De facto it is, because in both was handing money. Both
He
of them
has,
involved.
on his letter of employment, he has one position. You cannot employ someone twice.
What was he in his?
No, you must tell me, because you said that it was unethical. You said there was conflict of interest. So you must tell us.
I've told you that
and I'm putting it to you that you are factually incorrect.
I was told initially that.
Told by who?
By investigators in the task unit.
That was misleading
and
you.
By actually, I think the other person who told me, well, the person who told me initially that they were going to move Khumalo out of operational response was on the parliamentary committee at the time, Philip Mhlongo. And then the late Philip Mhlongo, who was the EFF rep on the parliamentary committee before the 2019 elections. He was the one who told me that there was so much trouble in operational response, they thought he was going to be moved out. He wasn't. I was told that he was remained in operational response and then was deployed as a project manager. And this came from someone who was in management at the time of the establishment of the task team, that he was actually structurally based in operational response, but he was deployed as project manager in the task team. And the project manager was the person who did the accommodation, the allowances and everything for the task team. Then he was appointed in the end of 2022 to be the head of crime intelligence. That's where the real conflict of interest comes in, that he's still the project manager and he's heading crime intelligence. It doesn't matter. As I said, he wasn't structurally there. I was told he was doing it while he was operational response. But he was, in fact, the project manager for crime intelligence. That was the official designation. I was told by a member of management at the time the team was established.
I put it to you that they were misleading you. General Khumalo, and I'm going to say this for the last time, does not hold two positions, and we're going to leave it at that.
What is his position in terms of the police?
He's the head of crime intelligence, and that's it. And he's allowed to work outside of, and he's allowed to work in any province, and he's allowed to head up task teams. But he's allowed to lend his skill to any situation in this country that requires it.
Are you talking about his crime intelligence position? I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand. I was told he'd remained in operational response.
So I'm asking you who told you that so that we can call out that person who's misleading you.
Well,
he does not hold two positions. He has one letter of employment with only one position.
How do you know it's Let me tell you something.
Mary.
Let me tell you something. Somebody...
Let's move on, Chair.
I'm just saying that I've seen that police records have been changed by somebody who was acquitted by a court and saw that on the police records.
So you're saying that his police record has been changed and he holds two positions and he's getting paid two salaries. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying he's getting two salaries. I'm saying that he's in a structural position. He's getting a salary. I have no idea where he's
Chair, please. Protect me.
Project manager.
Chair, please. Because you're going to tell me I'm breathing down the witness's neck. The witness is taking us on a wild goose chase here.
Nobody knows.
No, let's wait.
It's their word against. I'm telling you what I was told about the setup.
Dr. De Haas.
Yeah.
Let's wait. She did not say project manager. She says, Chair, protect me. And you.
No, I was just puzzled. I'm not saying you're wrong. I've heard that before.
I want us to wait. Let's wait.
Chair, This is very serious, Dr. Mary. What I'm referencing here, your instruction to the minister to instruct the National Commissioner, paragraph 4, your allegation that that General Khumalo holds 2 positions, and also in paragraph 9 of your letter, gross irregularity, use of national resources unheard of. All of these things based on hearsay. This is what your letter contains. Look, this is what your letter contains, and this is what the minister acted on. Oh. The minister said that he acted on your letter. This is what you instructed. This is your evidence, and you are aching today.
No, I mean, I reported in good faith what I got from credible sources. Khumalo was present with the task team, whatever his structural position was.
Dr. Mary, we are meant to probe this letter. We are meant to probe what you put in this letter so that we can understand why you put it in here. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm referencing all your paragraphs in terms of your ask to the minister, and I'm putting it to you that it is incorrect. I'm saying to you that you cannot have a conventional response to unconventional patterns of crime unfolding in this country. You are saying it is unheard of. Everything that you have said here today goes back to the 80s. You are stuck in the 80s way of policing. I'm saying to you, we can have task teams. I'm saying to you that we can have national units deployed to provinces.
I beg your pardon, I'm not stuck in the 80s. I'm stuck in what I learned about policing in the 90s and how you dealt with task teams. And before the policing went downhill after 2000.
Dr. Mary, this is no laughing matter.
I'm sorry.
This is no laughing matter. State security has been compromised because of this letter. We're having to pay 4 ministers. We are suffering as South Africans because of this. And you are laughing.
Sorry.
This is serious.
I'm trying to make sense.
It's very serious. Don't let me get started about the Cape Flats and our children that's on drugs. And you giving this minister this letter.
But, I mean, it's not my fault that General Mkhwanazi decided to throw the cat among the pigeons and make all these allegations, because remember, they are allegations. And when I wrote this letter, everyone was telling me that Khumalo was handling the task team stuff. Right. The crime intelligence people were alleging that they had no money because it was going to the task team. I'm not able to look and verify police records. You know,
you're not even able to verify the content of your own letter.
What else?
You're not able to verify your sources. You're not able to verify anything in here. And I'm going to leave it at that. You have misled even the minister, but you have proven to us who he really is. That you can actually mislead and guide him into taking incorrect decisions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you so much. Did you still have something to say?
Not really, because I stand by I did not instruct the minister, I requested him. I want to emphasize that. I can't help what he did with the letter, any more than I can help whatever anybody else has done with the letter. But I take exception to my being blamed for state security. I can tell you there's so many sinister things going on in our province that's where you should be worried about.
Honorable Ngola.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just one follow-up on what Honorable James was trying to lead. Doc, we've got your letter of the 31st of October 2024. And paragraph 1.1 of that letter reads as follows. I request that you instruct the National Commissioner, SAPS, to immediately disband the irregular, constituted, unnecessary and wasteful political killings task team and send its investigators back to the detective units established provincial and national in terms of the SAPS legislation.
Yeah.
Now, this letter is of the 31st of October. The letter of the 31st of December by the minister uses the same terminology of disband immediately, that which you used in your letter on the 31st of October. Wait. 2, the minister is on record here saying, part of the plan is to take those that were in all the information or the work that was done by the PKTT to the murder and robbery unit, which is what you are saying in paragraph 1.1. 3, the minister is on record saying part of the basic reasons they to dissolve the PKTT is on the basis of the expenditure, which is what you are raising in your paragraph 1.1. So do you think that this letter you wrote on the 31st of October 2024 actually influenced the decision of the minister to dissolve the PKTT?
I don't have any evidence.
Before you respond,
sorry.
Number 5, on the sworn statement of the minister on page 23, he also uses the words that you have used, that the PKTT was irregularly constituted. Yeah.
No, I've said that. I've said that all along, that it was irregularly constituted. If it wasn't having a clear line of reporting line with people in relative positions able to evaluate the detectives. And I think when I didn't say murder and robbery, I mean they had come. A lot of those members had come from stations all over the country, and they weren't even necessarily detectives. Those that were detectives should be going back to where they were based as detectives, and those that were not were in the provincial teams. We had 2 different provincial teams, and they should go back to the provincial. That's all I was asking. I didn't stipulate where they should go.
No, Doc, you are not answering.
No.
31st October. You write a letter using a certain terminology or wording. 31st December, the minister writes a letter using the same wording. Last month, the minister appeared here, and in his testimony, he is using the same wording. Now we're saying, did your letter of the 31st of October influence the decision of the political killings task team?
Well, I can't say yes or no because I don't know. All I know is it presumably influenced him, but I don't know if it was I can't say it's the only reason he did it, because it seems that he'd been looking at finances, from what I recall, before that. I mean, I don't know. And now I'm getting blamed for destabilizing South Africa. I mean, truly.
No, it's not.
I mean, that's what the Honourable James is saying.
But they're not apportioning the blame. They are asking questions for you just to respond.
I'm trying. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I've responded as well as I can.
No, yeah. She says she has given her best try, Honourable Ngola. Can we, before we take the Chief Whip, go to Honourable Nomvalo, and the last will be Honourable Skosana?
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. Chair, I think I understand the frustration of Honorable James in this context. And I really find it unconventional that a witness will come here and be extremely evasive, even when we perpetually try to persuade her to a particular direction which is correct. But Chair, I just want to get this confirmation from Dr. Meritias, because this committee has recently been in a compromised situation or on the receiving end of mysterious misinterpretations of words. Recently, we've been told here that immediately doesn't mean now. Now, in this letter dated the 31st of October 2024, on paragraph 1.1. I just want us to deal with 4 words. You say, I instruct the National Commissioner. Wait. You are saying?
I request that you instruct.
Yes. Open quote, you are saying, I instruct the National Commissioner, SAPS, to immediately disband, close quotes. So do you mean that when you say...
It's not I, it's number 1.
It's one.
It's number 1, then it says...
Okay, no. Okay, it starts there at the top by saying, I request that you instruct the National Commissioner, meaning you are requesting the minister to instruct the National Commissioner.
Is his role. He has to guide and instruct the national.
Now, when you say to instruct, do you mean because you are saying he must instruct him to disband immediately? Now, the question by Honorable James is that immediately after this letter, a letter was issued on the 31st of December, executing exactly what you have requested. So it means that your request was executed accordingly, with no deviation. It's too much of a coincidence. I mean, do you disagree with that?
It's certainly a coincidence. And all I'm disagreeing with is saying I cannot account. He obviously thought I was making a credible...
We know, Doc, you can't, but from an objective point of view, just be objective and stop being evasive. It's too much of a coincidence that you can write a letter to the minister requesting him to instruct, and he does exactly the same.
The fact that he is quoting me suggests it, but there's a principle in research that if 2 events happen at the same time, there's a correlation and not necessarily a causal relationship. But, I mean, if he's saying that I influenced him, then I can't dispute it. But what I don't know is what other information he may have heard that kind of what I said. I don't know.
No, at least because, look, you can't just write letters with no intention of seeing those letters being implemented, unless you have an appetite of writing letters, as if you are writing music books. This is a letter requesting the minister to take a particular executive action. Yes. And that executive action was executed accordingly. And the minister at least was honest to the people of South Africa and to us as members of parliament, because he conceded to that reality. He said the reason why he implemented that was because of a pressure that he got from members of the public. And that pressure included your persuasion to disband the PKTT. Now, why is it so difficult, ma'am? We are not going to lose anything if you concede to that fact, to a reality that your letter influenced the decision of the minister.
I'm not disputing that.
Yes.
I'm saying I don't know what else he took into consideration.
But it was part of factors which influenced his decision on the 31st of December.
Yes, I mean,
exactly.
And
then what is a problem here? What is the problem?
No, let's pass the microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. But
I mean, I'm not disputing that he's saying it.
Thank you. You have considered to.
Yes.
Yeah. Honorable Skosan.
Thank you, Chair. You know, I think this was raised earlier, but I want to make a follow-up on Honorable James, because I've raised that earlier, Chair, that in paragraph 15, Ms. Haas, you said that you expected the minister to do nothing. You remember that?
Yes.
In paragraph 16, you expressed shock that he acted decisively and disbanded the PKTT. Now, my follow-up on that would be, how do you reconcile portraying him as both unresponsive and decisive? I mean, that's a contradiction.
Let me explain. I've done a lot of lobbying of people in government and got nowhere. Okay, and the last minister had been running around acting like the National Commissioner himself. I did not have big expectations that a minister would act. Basically, I mean, he's a very different operator to the last minister, as I said, based on what I recollect. He was not the person running around and doing things for, running the police himself. From what I could see, he was proceeding cautiously. I mean, at one stage there was a quote that said he was decrying the fact that the Intelligence Oversight Committee, he said the intelligence needs oversight. Now, that was quite a sensible remark to make, because we are. If you think I'm stirring things up, we don't know what those intelligence operatives are doing that can undermine us. Okay, so I did not expect him to act, because I had no expectations of it, and I was actually amazed when I got the letter. And I mean, okay, it came from a WhatsApp group, but it was a letter. It was an official letter. It wasn't an allegation. It was an official piece of paper.
But yes, my question still stands. I said, how do you reconcile the two, unresponsive and decisive? And even at the end, you said yourself that in the last 24 months, the last time you communicated with the minister, it was almost 2 years. It's in your statement. It's not me who says.
No, it was the last time. Can I just repeat? I communicated with the minister telephonically when the elections which the ANC won in the province, which was 2004. Then he went on to do other things I had no connection with him with, okay, including a premier at one stage. I think my colleague Paula Sulu did. The only communication I had after he was appointed was to send him a message and ask if I could have the contact for his PA, because I need the people in the office to send the correspondence to. So I could then start copying him and, so he'd know what was going on with the National Commissioner. I did not speak to him until a month ago when I passed a message on. That's all I did. Now, you are telling me, as I understand it, that I'm not giving you enough information. The only information I have explained that I cannot give is the identities of people who give me information in confidence, and that they are largely police members.
Thank you, Chair, because I guess that the answer is again evasive, but the witness as well. Please, because we are reading something from your statement. All these questions which are directed to you are from the statement you've given us. It's nothing personal. It's from you. Hence, we are asking you, Mr. Haas. Thank you very much.
Honorable Cameron.
Chair, I just have one question for clarity, and that is to Mr. Haas regarding the letter to the minister. If you weren't expecting anything to happen, what was the point of writing it? What did you want to come out of?
I put on things on record, and I wanted the committee to know about it. I mean, I thought you could have maybe questioned him or something.
No, I'm speaking about the letter to the minister. I mean, otherwise you're shooting blanks.
No, but I copied it to Parliament.
No, but the point, that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Why did you send it to the minister? What was the point of you sending it to the minister? What did you want out of it?
I was checking him out. He was a new minister, and I was wondering, but I thought, well, they never are, so he probably won't be. But we'll copy to Parliament, because if he doesn't, maybe Parliament can question him about it. That was my motive.
Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, but Cameron, why aren't you concluding it? Because Dr. De Haas, after the letter of the 31st of December 2024 was written by yourself, have you ever written again to the minister or to the department? Did you write again after the letter of the 31st?
Oh, sorry, me.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I did. I wrote to
the police commissioner.
Well, whatever I sent to you.
Yeah.
I wrote and I copied to Parliament that that the task team was still operating.
No, yes, I'm saying after that letter of the 31st.
Yes, I did.
Which letter did you write?
I wrote letters that I did forward. I think I was asked to forward all what I had, and I had written after the disbandment. I had written to, I can't remember the dates. Though,
but you.
Masemola, I'd written to I copied to the minister, I copied to Parliament.
The letter which you wrote to Masemola.
Yeah.
You were not advising or requesting him. What were you asking him in that letter?
I was notifying him, or I was complaining to Masemola about the fact, and I was copying to him.
Yeah.
So he would know it, basically, and I copied, I think, to Parliament.
What were you complaining about?
That the task team was still operating despite the official disbandment.
When it has been disbanded?
Yeah.
You wrote to the minister and say disband. I request you to disband. I'm just following up on what Honorable Cameron asked you to say. When you wrote to the minister, what was the purpose of your writing? Then you wrote, and then you responded to say, no, I just wanted to make him aware and to check him since he was a new minister in office.
Look.
But then later in the new year, 2025, you then wrote to the police commissioner to complain that why do we still have the PKTT when there is a letter of the 31st of December which instructed you to disband?
I did.
You did that?
I did. I think I did. I haven't got the dates with me. I don't know if they're here. But I definitely wrote, because at one stage I wrote to him and I pointed out that they were abusing people in court.
Yeah.
I wrote to him and said, why have you got a case that's got nothing to do with political killings? I mean, this was all after it, and I would have copied to the minister and I think to Parliament.
Yeah. Okay. Chief Whip, may we...
No, thanks, Chair. I'm going to try and be, Dr. Diaz, I want us to work together very efficiently. That's my appeal. So that we can finish in the next 10 minutes.
Please.
The first question I want to ask you, when you did your master's, which is your highest qualification, what was the topic of that master's? What did you focus on your research?
Changing patterns of black marriage and divorce in Durban. It's 350 pages long, based on many hours of participant observation and every other possible. You couldn't do coursework masters. You see, you don't realize that coursework masters.
Yeah, you answered.
You are done now. You're done.
Same as research.
No, we are done. Okay. I wanted to know.
To explain that.
So your highest qualification research formally was about changing patterns on black marriages.
So I've got a lot of stuff published in peer-reviewed journals.
Okay. So at what point did you start immersing yourself on the security matters?
Okay, I tried to explain that. I was pulled into it because people that I was working with in research, whether it was on marriage or shebeens or whatever, I'd done reports for the Human Sciences Research Council. They'd given me funding, and That was what was distracting me. In fact, the Human Sciences Research Council wanted to publish my book on marriage, and I never had time to do that either. So, okay. So all these people that I was making contact with through research were coming to me and saying, we're getting attacked. And anthropological research is reciprocal because you spend a lot of time with people, they give you at their time, they help you, and you give back. You give back to them, and this was my giving back. Okay, I'll see what I could do about all these attacks on you. And that started it. It's not something I ever chose to do research on.
Okay, but my question was, at what point?
Well, whenever the violence started taking off, 1983, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, particularly 83.
Okay. I just want to understand this on your statement, the main statement, the witness statement. I think that's what it's called. I usually refer to as a main statement.
Yeah.
And maybe before I draw your attention to the paragraph I wanted to talk about. What's your understanding of the qualifications of Lieutenant General Kuman?
All I know is it's fairly well established that he had qualified, and I don't know if it was SAP or after the KwaZulu Police was formed. He was definitely in the KwaZulu Police. I think he probably had qualifications from the SAP. And if that was the case, they would take people, well, they didn't always take people with matrics. I can remember somebody was complaining to me, but he would have had the same training as the ordinary SAP South African police that didn't join one of the homelands. And then his next, and different people, including Philip Mshlongo, who'd canvassed, I gather, in the portfolio committee when they were getting complaints about him, said, well, he'd actually been deployed as guarding duties, which means he was operational response. And then somebody who was integrated into crime intelligence from the SAP said, well, I can remember him from the latter 90s when we were integrated, and he was doing some administrative work for intelligence then. Which was, he said he wasn't operative. But he said wasn't there long, he then went off to operational response. And I gather that was where he was for most of the time, apart from the deployment briefly to intelligence when Mkhwanazi was National Commissioner. And of course, my information was that although he was deployed to the task team, he was still basically operational response. That was what I was told by a very senior person at the time of the establishment, or since the establishment, I can't remember.
Okay. On your statement, 17.2, paragraph 17.2, you are saying a lot about the PKTT being irregular. Which laws were violated by the formation of the PKTT?
It's not just, look.
Or is irregular in what sense?
It's irregular in terms of any detective team I've ever come across, because a detective team, by its very objectives, is composed of detectives. It stands to reason that you get someone who's a detective, and I've tried to give you an example of the sorts of structures that were in place after the end of apartheid.
So it's your contention that the 126 people you are concerned about as a number were without dictative capabilities?
Well, not senior, I gather, because the senior guy soon left. Initially there was a senior detective. I'm concerned about the number, because why do you need such a big number of people in one province? Even the investigative task team had about 30 people in, I think.
But
it's necessary even.
Did you spend time as a researcher to make an inquiry about what is the work of the team of such a big size? Or you concluded that because in the past, teams were never constituted to such a number, therefore automatically this one is irregular?
Oh no, it wasn't the number per se. It was the strange structure of it, that you had it. As I said, it was not supposed to be. It was supposed to report nationally, and that wasn't maintained. But the province was the reports through the provincial commissioner and with a senior detective overseeing the junior ones. That was the way it was set up. But then it soon changed.
So the irregular part is that it was reporting to the province or national. I didn't get you on that.
The reports to the national fell away, although it had been set up to be overseen through reports by the head of detectives now.
How did it fall away? Because you still have a coordinator who is occupying a national position, a substantive position at a national level.
Well, this is what I don't understand, because the man who took over from the first one was called Mfazi. He occupied that position, and it's impossible to check because he died of poisoning, actually. But that's beside the point, but he's dead. And this can be canvassed about. I was told that the first one was very good and insisted on all the reports, so it's quite possible that he didn't bother to follow up. I don't know. I'm speculating. All I know is that I was told definitely that the reporting line ended with the deputy national.
We have been told by various witnesses who came before, especially from the police department, that one of the major value of having members of a task team coming from different parts of the country and at times being changed regularly so that they don't stay too long in one area is to protect them against local influence. And somewhere in your statement, you also make references to police being prone, and I'm paraphrasing you in this case, police being prone to corrupt activities or their conduct resulting in the state spending a lot of money on civil claims.
Well, they did.
So why do you see a problem then with the establishment of a team whose composition is also designed to mitigate against what we are complaining about as a usual practice in various...
It can be used for all sorts of purposes. It may be the ostensible excuse, but if you can check the records of detectives. If they have a record where they've got high court convictions, where they do well, you're pretty safe with them. And some of those people were deployed initially to the task team, and they were removed the minute they started making uncomfortable, when I say uncomfortable, politically uncomfortable arrests, like the mayor of Newcastle, for example. The man who was seconded to that, who is an excellent detective, got out of it because they didn't want him, basically. And the charges were withdrawn against the mayor of Newcastle too, by whoever, prosecutor, whatever. But they were withdrawn and the witness died.
Okay, my last question, you are making reference, I think this is paragraph 17.1, when you were arguing that there was a let me just read it verbatim. On sentence number 2, as the task team that was being formed, the provincial team was securing a conviction for the murder of the Ramaphosa supporter whose name was top on the hit list, blah, blah, blah. Have you ever been a member of the ANC?
No. Oh, hang on. I joined very briefly, but I didn't stay. And that was in 1990 when one of my colleagues, the whole university was going mad on this. Oh, Mandela's out, you know, and you've been calling, because at one stage we had a petition calling for the release of Mandela in the 80s. How can you not join the ANC? All right, I said, but I didn't keep it up. I didn't renew it. I didn't go to meetings. I mean, it was, I got out of all politics. I was still a member of the PFP, so I was a member of both of them, and I withdrew from both of them. It just was not appropriate for me.
Okay. And then how do we define a Ramaphosa support? Or well, how does an external person who's not in the ANC would define a Ramaphosa support?
Well, the people that were claiming this were very long-standing ANC people that said there were factions. So, and they, I mean, it was not just me. I mean, it was getting around everywhere. I mean, that there was this fierce competition between, it was about, you know, like most politics, it was about controlling resources, I guess, and for some people, idealism with it. You know, it's a mixture. Politics is like that all over the world. I mean, you know, you want to see a book that's written about British politics, how they broke Britain. I mean, it's not just here, the politics of politics.
No, you know why I'm asking this question is because the way you have framed it on your statement,
right.
You are not appropriating
all right. Okay.
This classification of that conviction to somebody else. You are writing as a first person.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm asking you, because in the statement you are not saying, I was told, I happen to be made aware, or anything of that sort, that therefore the person who was being convicted was a Ramaphosa supporter.
What's his name at top of the hit list? Somebody sent me the hit list that was alleged.
So somebody sent you a hit list, and the title of the hit list was Ramaphosa supporters.
Yeah, the hit list was circulating. It was even, I think, in the media that there was a hit list circulating. But I mean, his name was top of the list, and he got killed, and another one was, there was an attempt to kill, and then they got rid of the municipal manager who was in the wrong political camp. Yeah.
Okay. No, I wanted to understand that because I was a bit unsure what is meant by that, the way it is written on the statement. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Honorable Skosan.
Thank you, Chair. I just heard Mr. Haas saying he was a member of PFP and the ANC. Quite interesting. But I wanted to find out, Mrs. Haas, you know, because you wrote to the National Commissioner in February, and you were so lucky that you wrote a letter to a minister, and the minister disbanded the PKTT, your first letter.
Yeah, I mean, I was astonished. I hadn't expected it.
Yeah, hence I don't want you to go there, because remember, we went about being decisive, and you remember. Let's not go there. Now, why were you so pushing? What was your interest in this matter? Why were you involved in the police operational matters? What was your interest in all this issue of the police? And who's funding you? I'm just now trying to find out from you, because I hear you talking about resources and what. Who's funding you, Mr. Haas?
Nobody's funding me. Nobody has funded me since 2005, apart from whatever I get for writing academic articles that gets some money put into my research code that can only be used for academic activities. No one has funded me since 2005. That's the first thing. What drives me? Well, I don't know why it sounds so strange. I have a passion for justice because I deal with people day in, day out. All they want is justice, and they're not getting it. So that's what's driving me, not the money. I'm paying myself for this. I'm risking my life for it.
So are you not working with any NGO or any civil society?
No, I'm not. I'm not a member of any of them at all. I mean, I have a. I don't really work with any of them. The only people I'm in is a Navi Pillay research group, which is I'm not teaching. I am part of being an honorary research fellow because I write academic stuff.
Yes, but my question is this: Are you not working with any NGO on your research? You are funding yourself.
No, I'm not. I'm independent.
Yes,
completely independent.
So there's no one who's funding any of your work.
I'm not working with. I'm not a member of. Hang on a minute. Let me just think. Nothing to do with NPOs. I mean, I interact with the local Amnesty International group because I've known them all for years. Okay. Who else? I mean, it's one thing to support people in an NPO, but I'm not involved in it.
Let me put it this way to you. Are you comfortable for your gadgets to be taken from you?
No, I'm not, because there's private information on that.
No, we will apply. We know how to do it. We'll get a court order.
How dare you? I'm a private person. How dare you do this to me?
No, I'm asking. I'm asking. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. No. I'm saying, are you comfortable that if the police have to take your gadgets like any other one, because there's probing in yeah. So my question, I'm saying, are you comfortable?
I'm not comfortable because it's private. It's private family issues.
I understand that. And since I'm asking you, my follow-up question was simple, and you still did not respond on my question. I asked you, why are you involving yourself on police operational matters?
I've told you that because I care about justice. I care about people. One death is too much.
No,
I care about people.
All of us, we care.
I apologize for that.
Okay.
Please, may I ask, this is turning into a witch hunt of me.
No, let me.
And I'm objecting and I'm putting it on record.
Let me help you, both of you. Honorable Skosana and Dr. Haas, the witnesses that appear before the committee are not suspects.
Yes.
That is the principle that we must always reiterate. And I don't think that it's fair, Honorable Skosana, to go to an extent of telling the witness that we know the procedure that we must follow in case we must apply for your gadgets to be confiscated from you or to be seized from you because we are probing. I mean, she's not a suspect. Let's have a conversation with her.
Thank you, Chair. Hence, I was saying to her, it was a question. I've never said we are going to do that. Because remember, Chair, that was a follow-up question to say, why was he pushing so hard? What was the interest? Who's funding her? Other questions she answered me. But my follow-up question, why she did not answer me, it's not personal, as I said, Ms. Haas.
What am I not answering?
No, my question was simple. You said because you care, one death is too much. All of us here, one death, hence we are here. It's not only you. This privilege which we are talking about is not only exclusive to you.
You didn't say it was, did I?
Yeah. Now I'm saying to you, it's not a threat. I was just asking whether are you comfortable, because you said it's illegal. We can't do this. We can't. So I said to you, because I'm a lawmaker, I know if your gadget has to be taken, what must happen? I'm not a policeman. I'm not going to do that. But I'm saying to you, honestly speaking, your involvement is suspicious in the whole matter. Hence, I'm asking this for follow-up question. That you wrote one letter, the minister disbanded PKTT, and then you made a follow-up letter to the National Commissioner. Why was he not implementing it? Hence, I'm asking you, what was your interest?
Because it was a perfectly legal letter. I can't, as I said, I can't take responsibility. I had no idea that it would act this way, so how can you attribute blame to me for it? I mean, I didn't expect it. I've explained that. He did it. I can't help it if he took what I said into consideration. It's not my fault. I can't control how the minister handles. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, I've tried to explain this.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yeah.
You were very lucky. You were very privileged.